the Most High be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen, and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains.
So we're finally going to be able to get our vengeance back, because right now we got to just play the mouse. When we get around the heathen, we got to play the good boys. But when we rise to the power, then it's going to be a whole different scenario altogether. Go on, bro.
And their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written.
To execute upon them the judgment written. So we're going to execute judgments upon the nations, man. Because as it stands right now in the book of Zephaniah, the 3rd chapter, the 8th verse, it says, "Wait ye upon me, thus saith the Lord, until I rise up to the prey." Right. So that's what we're doing right now. Yeah. But when it's all said and done, when we get into that power seat, boy, it's going to be a whole different situation. And then the people are going to be in a state of great fear. And then people are really going to start to take it. They're going to know that we're the sons of God. That's for one. But we're going to be whooping that ass too. And that's when the nations, they're going to take us really serious. Okay, they're not going to just take us serious. They're going to take us real serious. Go on, bro.
This honor have all the saints. Praise ye the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai.
Yep.
That's it. It's finished.
Yeah, so that's just the prophecy on that, man. They're going to be put into captivity. That's where the nobles are going. They're going to become the slaves, and that's why the Lord is going to have them survive the nuclear holocaust, just so they can be put into chains, and that judgment can be executed upon them. The judgment written, and we're going to execute the judgment that is exactly written in the book of the law, according to the deeds that they have done. Let's get Galatians the 6th chapter, brother. One more precept. It says, "Whatever a man soweth," I'll let the brother read the precept, man. I ain't gonna call it like that.
Good at the rush.
No, I don't know. Do you want to do it?
Galatians 6.
I'll get it.
Yeah, I got it. Galatians 6 and 7.
Yeah.
"Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap."
Yeah, so we're going to judge them to every deed that they have done. We're going to have that spiritual Google, and we're going to be able to look past their past lives, and we're going to execute judgment upon them just like that. Because the Most High is going to give us technology that no man has ever seen on the earth before. And we're going to have that ability to actually look at these people's past lives, and we're going to judge them based on that. And we're going to have a lot of judgments to give out to these people, man. So it ain't going to be pretty being under the foot of Israel. I'll tell you that, man. And it ain't going to be cool to be an Edomite on that day. Go on, brother.
So Revelation 13 and 9. "If any man have an ear, let him hear.
Yep.
He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity."
Right.
That's right.
And you know this park that we're in right now. This park here used to only be for the those that have coming from the noble families. Now they've opened up the park to everybody. All right. But them same people, they're gonna go into captivity.
That's right.
Because they've actually had slaves. And there's documents out there that the people that had slaves were only 3%, which makes sense to this very day, because basically who runs this entire enterprise? The same percentage of people that own the slaves. So not every Edomite owned a slave. It was only the rich that owned them. All right? And they're going to be put into slavery now.
Kind of, if I may.
But that, I don't cut you, brother. But that don't mean that the average Edomite is going to get off scot-free. All right? Because they've benefited off this enterprise, this kingdom. They've done good. They've lived good off our suffering. So they're going to have to get dealt with the same way. Like, for example, when Moses, during the time of the Egyptians, did the poor Egyptians get judged too, along with the rich Egyptians? You damn right. They all got judged, from the top all the way up to the bottom. So it's the same thing with the Edomites. The Edomites, they're going to get judged according to what they have done as a nation. Wow. Okay, their whole nation is going to get judged. That's how the Most High gets down. Because you got Edomites that like to say, well, or people in general, even Jake, everybody's their own individual. That may be, true to a certain degree, but the Lord judges nations of people. Okay? Because when you look at this enterprise or this empire that we're under, who's benefited the most? Even poor Edomites have benefited. Okay? The middle class of Edomites have benefited. The rich class of Edomites have benefited. Okay? And then they will say, and you got Edomites that will say, oh, it was the Jewish people's fault as to why you people have suffered, and we all suffered as well. No, you haven't suffered like we've suffered. All right? You've benefited greatly in this kingdom, man. That's why you have this idea called Edomite supremacy. Edomite supremacy, where you could do whatever you want to do because of your race, man. Okay? So just because that was the case, it don't mean anything, man. You're all gonna witness the same judgment as the ones of the top that caused all of this confusion in the first place. And it makes sense because even though they've caused all of this corruption on the world, we still benefited, man. Go on, brother. Like this one guy, when we was in King's Cross, he said, man, I hate that though, man. I hate that. But it don't matter whether you hate it or not. You've seen the video. And I think you was there. You might have been there. So he was saying, oh, I hate that, man. I hate that. But it don't matter what you hate. The reality of the matter is you benefited, boy. You benefited, man. So therefore, you have to go down right along with them. The same way you benefited is the same way you're going to be having to suffer like them. Yeah? Go on, brother.
Well, that's that balance I just wanted to say because, you know, as a nation that we went into captivity and we've all been punished as a whole entire nation, man. So it's only fair that these Edomites and all the other nations get dealt the same way. Right.
Because they like to blame most the Jewish people. They did this, they did that. Rare. Well, guess what? You were a part of that enterprise. You were a part of the empire. You was benefiting off the empire. Go on.
Yeah, this is Sirach 10:2. As the judge of the people is himself.
Yeah.
So are his officers.
Right. The judge of the people as of like unto himself. And so are the people, man. So are the judges. So you have lower. So in other words, I know why the brother read that to convey my point, because you have high level Edomites, you got middle class level Edomites, and you got lower level Edomites, and they have benefited somehow, some way of our suffering. They have, man. So that's what that's really speaking about. In this case, we're dealing with right here. Go on.
So like
yeah.
Because the thing is, people look at Esau's kingdom and they look at his how he's well off. They look at it. They always look at it from a economic standpoint.
Exactly.
They never really look at it from a social standpoint.
Can I ask you?
Yeah.
Excuse me. I can?
No, sorry, we're in the middle of something. Yeah.
Yeah. What did she want? Oh, okay.
It's like that.
Yeah, they just nosy, man.
Yeah,
People are nosy.
Pushes off in directions, but yeah. People always look at it from economic standpoint. They never really look to think what happened to Jake on a social level. Being lynched, that wasn't an economic problem. Right. Being black, the whole blackface and minstrel shows, that wasn't an economic issue. These were all social issues. Eugenics, everything. This had very little to do with economics. So these are. It's not just that. That's why you have a term.
Good point, bro.
Called social economics.
Right.
So you got this. Everything happens in society, plus the economics that goes along with it. Yeah, it's lucky. I just wanted to make that.
No, that's a very good point, because it leads me to say this as well, because during a time when Jake had absolutely no say.
Right.
Even in the 60s, we can even take it to the early 60s and further to the past.
Yeah.
Jake had no power, where like an average Edomite can walk up on the Jake and smack him upside the head.
Right.
Or crack his skull. A group of Edomites would get together and go, as the dude said, what is it, Negro hunting. This is what they were doing in the South. They would take Jake and lynch them, man. Mm-hmm. Was it the top tier families that did this? No, it was regular Edomites that were able to do this.
Yeah.
So they were given the benefit to hurt Jake.
Yeah. And there's no statute of limitations for murder.
Exactly. They could get away with it.
So they're actually criminals on the loose.
Yeah.
Well, there's no statute of limitations with the Most High, man. That's the real.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what they don't know is the Most High have recorded every work and every deed that they have done.
Right.
That's why it says in Colossians, don't we go and get Colossians 3:25. Somebody get Colossians, brother. You get Colossians, because he's got a precept already.
Okay, look. Careful, there's a bottle right behind you. Water.
Yeah, we're gonna leave
No,
at
no,
7,
that's-
brothers.
That's lucky. It's good. It's good. It's good.
I should have told. I should
Let
have
me
told
get
you
it for you.
still.
Let me get it for you.
No, it's cool, man. It's
It's
cool.
in
It's
the
cool.
puddle.
It's lucky,
You should
man.
have said that was your bottle. In
I thought they left it and I was going to trip over
Oh,
it, so
yeah,
that's why I
no,
just
no.
kicked it out of the way.
Salakia, what was that? Colossians 3,
25.
3 and 25.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, let me get the lights.
Okay,
So,
Colossians
so
3.
we're avenging our ancestors when we get justice on them, which comes back to us.
Colossians 3 and 25. But he that doeth wrong shall receive for the wrong which he have done.
And that's ultimately what's going to take place. There's no getting off scot-free, man. See, it seemed like Esau is getting off scot-free from all of the deeds that he has done. But all the Most High has been doing all along has been recording every work and deed that these people have done. Now it's going to be the payback, man. Like James Brown was singing about. The big payback. That's what's coming down the pipe. And these people don't even realize it, man. They don't even recognize it. They can feel it. They can feel it in their skin that something's getting ready to take place, but they're still ignorant to judgment, man. Judgment is coming down the pipe. Go on, brother.
And there is no respecter of persons.
And there's no respect of person. So it doesn't matter if you're a nobleman. It doesn't matter if you're a poor man. If you do something wrong against the law of the Heavenly Father, you will be judged against that. All right? Because the book that we're reading is the book of the earth, the book of the universe. And also you have laws and statutes and commandments, which is the manuscript of the earth and how to live and how to conduct yourself. And it shows you that if you go contrary to the laws, then this is exactly what's going to take place. So Esau has broken every law of the book, and thereby he's going to receive the plagues and the judgments thereby. All right, because he went contrary to the book. That's why it says, "Thou hatest instruction." He didn't go by the instructions. He stole the land of Gad and Reuben, and proclaimed it as his land, and got the audacity to call themselves the Americans, and labeled everybody else as African American, Native American. The real Americans are Gad and Reuben. Okay, but that's not even their names anyway, because the word America goes back to an Italian navigator, which is Namus Americo Vespucius, which the word Americo means bitter. So they're not Americans anyway. And then you also have people that call themselves African American, which the term Africa goes back to a Roman general by the name of Neo Scipio's Africanus. So when you call yourself African American, you're naming yourself after two Edomites, man. All right, go on, brother. And that's something that the American people don't even know. They don't even know what the name America goes back to, even down here in Britain. England, a lot of people don't even know what the word Britain means or British means. People don't even know what the term England means. Check that out. Here it is, you have people that are born and raised here, and they don't even know what the actual meaning is of their country.
Also,
They don't even know the history of the part of the land that they live on in a certain country. They don't even know that. That's how dumbfounded and ignorant the masses are. Go on, bro. Yeah, speak what you speak.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because they even have like you have these so-called British historians, and they'll be talking so proudly about Anglo-Saxons and 1066, and they don't even understand what those words mean, man, and who were actually ruling back then.
Yeah.
But they're the so-called top historians of
the scriptures.
Yeah.
Well, Salaki, because some of them do know the truth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The top
They
ones
cover,
do.
they're covering up them so-called historical and archaeological scholars. They cover up the truth, man. They find things, and hide things, or they repaint things or rewrite things, man. So some, like the brother's right, but some of them they do know the truth.
Yeah, of course.
They do know, man.
Like the term Anglo-Saxon. The term Anglo means angel, and the word Saxon goes back to Isaac. So where does this terminology Anglo-Saxon goes back to? It goes back to the same people that were dwelling in the Middle Ages in Europe. And it was it was dark-skinned people, Negro people that ruled England. That's why you have the term called the black nobility, the black British nobility, you have that term. So where does that term go back to? Because you had so-called proclaimed blacks that ruled in England, Israelites to be exact.
Can I say something?
Go on.
Because this man will teach you that, because you're a certain skin tone, you have to come from certain
the sub-Saharan area.
certain areas of the planet, man.
Yeah.
And that is why it confuses a lot of people when you tell them who was basically ruling Europe, you know, in the 1600s. You know, they'll talk about, you know, to them that's impossible.
Yeah.
They believe that they're here because, you know, because they're so-called white people.
Yeah.
And we're on this side of the earth and it's cold and it, you know, it's not, you know. So they basically judge you from where you come from your skin tone.
Yeah, and
but when you look but when you look at people in like places like Mongolia and what's it Alaska and places like that,
and Canada too.
They got dark skin too.
Yeah.
So you can't, you know, that's Esau's teaching.
But see, the reason why people believe in this concept, because it all goes back to what's the word I'm looking for, man? It goes back to this doctrine called and it came from this dude, but he later proclaimed it to be false when he passed away. What was his name, man?
Darwin?
German guy.
Right, Darwin. Charles Darwin.
Right.
Everybody's under that philosophy of Charles Darwin, where
Evolution.
that evolution garbage, which the reason why evolution was set up and made up is so that it can predate, it can what is it, man? It can pretty much upset the history of the Bible. That's why you have the term evolution. That's just Esau doing away with the history of the Bible, or doing away with the Bible completely. So rather than believing in mankind or the history of mankind in the Bible, they're gonna create something else and say that, look, men before they were even men, they were animals, and they evolved into manly form. All right, and that's why we were all taught that in school. And the reason why Esau had us being taught this in school, so that eventually we can get away from the Bible. That's the whole reason why you have evolution in the first place. Okay.
And then they also, like in the school system as well, they also replace the account of the flood with some ice age.
Yeah.
About was it millions of years, you know, and some ice age covered the whole earth and stuff. But they do that. They replace the flood because when you look at Noah's sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth.
Yeah.
From there, it's clear where all nations come from.
Right.
And the sons of because we're Shemitic. And Edomites are Shemitic too.
Yep.
So if they were to teach that, then it would prove that, okay, we're Israelites and you're Edomites.
Right. And then that would then validate the Bible, which Esau don't want to validate the Bible. Esau wants to come up with his own new formulated doctrine so that people can then go astray from the word of truth. Because this society is not based on truth, it's based on lies. That was a part of Esau's weapon. Esau's weapon was to rule by lies and the sword. Okay, go on. Yeah, continue on, bro. I just wanted to bring that out. Yeah, you continue what you were saying.
Oh yeah, I was saying that so with the whole ice age thing, you know, and then they get into ice age in school and carbon dating.
Yes, carbon dating. Yeah.
That carbon dating is been proved time and time again. It just does not work.
Yeah, it's flawed.
Circular reasoning.
It's not consistent, and it's just based off guessing, because they could probably take one of my bones and I'll be like 10 million years old.
Yeah.
According to carbon dating.
Yeah.
So lucky because they what they do is they base the age of the soil from the bone and vice versa. So you're going around in circles, man. It doesn't make any sense. You can't determine the age of a bone from the soil and then determine the age of the soil from the bone that you found within the soil.
Because that bone
and that's what they do.
Because that bone could have been in the soil for 2 days, but they're gonna tell you, oh, it's 10 billion gazillion years old. And yet, if you notice about these scientists that stay on carbon dating, they cannot give you a definitive age of how old the Earth is. It's always changing. One guy is saying it's 1 million years old. Another one is saying it's 12 million years old. Another one is saying it's 40 million. So no one's coming with a definitive number.
They talk about billions, man.
Right.
They say billions.
Right.
Billions of years, man.
Right. And then it's gonna say, so it's funny, man. And then, like, even when they're talking about certain creatures, they're gonna say, well, this creature's been around for 20 million years. So you just couldn't make it up. Like they're just going about it as they make. They're making it up as they go. That's what I wanted to say.
You said a lie enough times it becomes the truth. That's why when you watch these documentaries, especially these ones, you know, to do with nature and stuff, you got David Attenborough, who's highly respected in that game. Right. And he would talk about the animals, and then he starts throwing evolution into the game.
Exactly.
And you keep hearing this as a child, and you hear it all your life, man.
Yeah.
So then, you know, if you're you know, I've never believed in it, you know, and that's the spirit, man. Because you know, Jakes tend to not to really believe in that sort of stuff, big bangs and evolution and all that nonsense, man.
Right. Yeah. And that's just the thing. So it's just Esau. He's about lying to your ass, man. Esau's not about giving you no truth. Esau wants you to think that you literally came from an ape, a monkey, but there's no substantial evidence of that.
Hey,
All
man.
right, you mean to tell me, I don't cut you,
No,
brother.
it's like
You mean to tell me within the century you couldn't find no kind of evidence that mankind came from an ape? So if you couldn't find the evidence, then it's because it doesn't exist. Okay, it's not real, man. It's flawed, it's fake. Go on, brother.
And the thing is, as well, is that the world right now is changing more than it ever was in any part of history. So why is it that nobody's evolving right now?
Right.
That's the question.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah, they've even got a video game out now, and it's based on the beginning, their version of the beginning of man, and so you have these ape-like creatures, and your aim is to survive. So your aim is to progress through this game, and eventually until you become man. And so, and at the beginning of it, they introduce it as a fact.
What's that game called?
I can't remember the name, but you know, I just can't remember it right now. But
Right.
yeah, man. So that's another way of them trying to that's not entertainment, man. That's another doctrine they're just pushing.
Exactly. And that's what Esau is all about. Esau is about pushing false doctrines, man. It's like, for example, I want to speak about Charles Darwin. You know, Charles Darwin, he denounced the doctrine that he was teaching, and he actually considered himself a Christian. So why would a guy that was a scientist then become a Christian in his deathbed? So that shows you right there that Charles Darwin, whatever he was speaking about, it was all flawed. It was a fraud. Okay, so this is the thing, man. The true history is in the scriptures, man.
That's right.
That's all I'm gonna say on that. So we're gonna move on.
That's lucky, if I may as well.
Yep.
Those theories, right? They weren't only just to undermine the Most High, but they were to undermine the chosen people of the Most High.
Right.
Such as the theory of evolution. The reason why he did it wasn't just to disprove that the Most High existed, but he tried to prove that the so-called black man was a monkey. That's what he was trying to say. That's what he was trying to say, was that the so-called Negro was basically the link between the monkey and ape and a so-called white man.
That's why they tell you that life began in Africa, man. Because obviously life began in Africa, and who's the people residing there at the time would be so-called black people.
Yeah, because we were the unfinished product of the evolution. That's we are the unfinished product of evolution. We're still in the state of monkeyism, and they're in the state of what's the word? The finished product.
Yeah,
They're the civilized product
Yeah, but the scripture
of the evolution.
And that's the thing, like the brother was saying, is all of that is just to go the complete contrary to the scriptures, man.
That's all it is, yeah.
Because when you go back to Genesis and it says, "Let us make man in our image," that was the Lord giving the sons of God that law, man, that oral law. So we got the understanding, and we were the first quote-unquote civilized ones, whilst everybody else was just left to their madness, man. But then they'll flip it around and say, no, the monkeys, because they've got melanin and then they look like a human, then that you come from them.
Exactly.
You know?
And then they'll say, well, you had a group of Edomites called the Neanderthals. That never existed. Or the Stone Age. There's no such age as the Stone Age. It doesn't exist. It's just formulated, man. Or the Ice Age. It's all BS. Okay, go on, brother. There's no such thing as an Ice Age or the Neanderthals. That's not even mentioned in the scriptures. Which the scripture is, I don't cut you, brother. The scripture is the book of mankind, and also it has laws and it has history in it. Okay, and there's no history in the Bible stating that there was a Stone Age, or there was an Ice Age, or there was what is it? So-called blacks coming from apes. Doesn't exist. Go on, brother.
And every nation has an account of a flood story.
Exactly.
But then all of a sudden Esau can just pull evolution out of his ass and everybody has to accept it. It don't make no sense.
Exactly. And that's why Charles Darwin was set up. He was pretty much set up by the elite to confuse mother effers out there.
He was a Mason.
Yeah. That proves it. See, I didn't know that. But then even if I didn't know it, I wouldn't be surprised about it. That's nothing to be surprised about, you know? because he was set up. Darwin was that guy to push that evolution garbage out there. And it's so powerful now that even people still believe in that nonsense, man. Even though he denied it, he denounced the doctrine of evolution when he was dying.
Well, it was only ever a theory in the first place, and it still is now.
Yeah, and it's still a theory. Go on, bro.
So yeah, this is Habakkuk 2 and 4.
Go a bit to the
Behold,
left.
his soul which is lifted up, it is not upright, but the just shall live by his faith.
Right, but the just shall live by his faith, and the faith that we believe in is the book of the Bible, man. All right, and it's like certain brothers that's been in the truth for years. It's gotten to the point where we know that this is the truth, man. We don't really believe it. We know that this is it, so to speak. But even yet, still, we still have faith and believe that we have the truth. Okay, and we know that what Esau's been pushing out there throughout the years is pretty much nonsense, man. Huh? Yeah, 6 minutes. Yeah, go on.
Let me get
If you can, brother, look up that word upright. Someone can look that word up for me.
What word?
Upright.
Habakkuk 2 and 4, upright.
I'll get it.
This is Job 30 and 1. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. Yea, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished.
Right.
For in want of famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness, in former time desolate and waste.
Right.
Who cut up mallows by the bushes.
So Esau would say that they were Neanderthals. Oh, it's BS, man. That's BS. All they were just men. They were human beings. Okay, I don't want to use that word. They were beings of men that dwelled in the caves. That's all it was. They was just in an animalistic state. But Esau is saying that these are actual beasts or Neanderthals that were dwelling in the caves. There's no such thing. Go on, bro.
Who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat.
Right, and you got Jake's teaching, which they're kind of correct, but they're not 100% correct, because the thing with the Edomites, they came from the caves of Mount Seir. They didn't originate out of the Caucasus Mountains. The origin of the nation of Edom came from Mount Seir. So you have to get that correct. Go on, brother. Because you got Israelites teaching, see, like for example, the leader of One Body in Yahweh Shai, when he was confronted by what's the dude's name, Vocab Malone, he just kept on cursing them out. He didn't really debate with him because he really didn't have the skill to debate. So he just said, look, you guys are the devil, and you came from the Caucasus Mountains and all of this other stuff. They didn't originate out of the Caucasus Mountains. They originated out of Mount Seir. Go on, brother.
I've got that word upright if you want it.
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the word for upright in Habakkuk 2 and 4. Yashar. Yeah, you got it, yeah. And it says what? To be straight or even, right, pleasant, prosperous, direct, esteem, to go right.
Right, to go right. Direct, esteem. So we're the people that are, and if you notice, if you look at the brothers in Great Millstone, most of them are straightforward and upright. Like, we speak straightforwardly. We don't go behind the bushes and season our tongue. No, we give it to you raw and uncut, the truth. Okay, and we stand on the truth. The correct way. Go on, brother. That's it on that, isn't it?
Yeah, that's that.
Yeah, come on.
So back in Job 30 and verse 5, they were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief.
Yeah.
To dwell in the cliffs of the valleys of the to dwell in the cliffs of the valleys, in the caves of the earth, and in the rocks. Among the bushes they brayed, under the nettles they were gathered together.
Right.
They were children of fools, yea, children of base men.
Right, they were children of fools, and they're still children of fools, because they bring out philosophies that go contrary to the scripture, or the scriptures. Go on, brother.
Yea, children of base men, they were viler than the earth.
They were viler than the earth. So they were just a bunch of, they were men, or a group of nation of men and women that were in an animalistic state. That's all they were. They were not no Neanderthal. I can't even say it. Go on, bro.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it on that. Yeah, so go back to what you had before. And then we're going to close this one out.
Just got a quick precept. This is just to prove that Esau came from Mount Seir and not the Caucasus Mountains. This is Genesis 36 and 8. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom.
Right. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. He is Edom. So that's what we're going to read from there. All right. So we're going to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Ba'akadash, and Abad Babal, Wa Adawam.
Wa Adawam.
Shalom.
Shalom.